Hello, everybody. We're back. We're just back. Oh my gosh. Does it look like I've left this room? No. Does it look like I've changed this t-shirt? No. I have though, but it's anyway, it's another story. Welcome to another podcast, Singers, Series 1, Episode 3. Come on, give a wave and a shout, people. That was like a mute shout. Guys, it is so good to be back. Did you like number 2? Did you like number 1? I had so much fun. And I think I'm just going to have much fun on this one too. Two-thirds of the people here I know, but one of them we're probably just going to end up being friends after this anyway. So it's great. We're meeting new people and we're reacquainting ourselves again in this very strange but wonderful time. Yeah, and so let me go. Are you ready? Shall we go down the list of the singers that we have on the podcast today? All right, so let's start with a new person to the podcast. This lady is, I was just saying before we press record, I was like, I know your face. I just don't know where I know. And I mean, the history and the experience of her singing is vast and wide. I'm just going to name a few things on here that will just kind of put you put it in perspective. Okay. Galliano, do you remember Galliano? Talking Loud, from the Talking Loud label. This was an amazing movement of music that I listened to and was like inspired by. And I just like, I know this lady, she's in that movement. This is like serious history, UK history right here. Amazing. She's completed 4 featured albums, worked on the last 4 albums, including a 3rd appearance from the featured vocalist Citrus side project, 4th release, Expansions and Visions. Is that right? Yeah, I've got that, yeah. Of recent, yeah. And she, varied and versatile artist, worked with, are you ready for this? Just sit down. Yeah, Jamiroquai for the last 20 years. I mean, just let it roll off your tongue just for the last 20 years. Come on. Sorry, man. This is nuts, man. I'm just getting excited. I feel like breakdancing. She has sung with an eclectic mix of artists, working with, you ready? Kylie Minogue.
Oh yeah, that was
and Homecoming tour. Is that right? Oh my.
Yeah, that was 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh my.
A long time ago. My babies were tiny then. Yeah.
But this Kylie Minogue, man. I mean, come on. Look, I'm gonna go through this quickly. Boyzone, Brian.
Boy, that was an amazing tour. I'm sorry.
Brian Ferry, Lenny. Can we stop for a minute? Lenny Kravitz.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did a couple of gigs with him. Yeah, Lenny.
Ooh la la.
Actually, we were born on the same day. We were born on exactly the same day, so we had a lot in common in terms of, style.
Omar.
Oh yeah, years ago.
James Blunt. I was with him a couple of weeks ago, actually. Paulo Nutini. I don't know if I said this right. Natini.
Paolo Nutini.
Paolo Nutini.
Paolo. Yeah.
Oh, you guys know? I don't know. Sorry,
that was a long time ago. Yeah.
Bill Withers, Al Jarreau. Listen, it goes on. I just don't have enough breath to say what's going on here. This woman is amazing. She has got some experience, and I'm sure she's got a story to tell. Her name is, give it up for Valerie.
Yeah.
Etienne, yes, good, not bad.
I stuttered on that bit. I just wanted to know. I'm just going to tell the truth. Yeah,
not bad.
The Lord Israel. Valerie, is a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, can't wait.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Some stories, but I have to edit, obviously.
No worries. You can tell us your adventures. All right, next person. Are you ready for this? The next person I've actually known for a few years, and we kind of crossed paths for a while, and then disappeared. And this guy, I mean, let me just. He is an amazing singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's a singer-songwriter, down to earth, and he's, as you can see, he's quite chilled and laid back. And I tell you, his songs actually reflect his vibe. I got to say, if he walks into a room, you're like, all right, I'm interested to hear the songs. He refers to his music as an audible diary. Can you feel the diary on him?
An audible diary or dowry?
Diary. Yeah, diary. I nearly, sorry, it was the Indian in me, sorry. Diary. And he talks about his experiences through his songs. He's a very honest and transparent songwriter. I mean, I can just add that for myself. Jazz's voice is a powerhouse of an instrument, and his music is equally versatile by nature. I can testify for that. He's got influences of gospel, soul, jazz, and funks, renowned, including the renowned Kimberell, melded together with the soulful musicians like Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross. You need to go and check out his Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
What's the rendition, Jazz? What is that rendition? You know what I called you at home.
That's bad. I'm sorry. That's wicked. That was so great. I watched that. Honestly, liquid gold.
Oh.
Really, really. I was blown away. I looked that up. Yeah. Anyway, let's chat after. Get up to the powerhouse. It's Andrea.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to look in the camera for this one. Yeah. Listen, if you want a masterclass on to sing,
should we genuflect? Let's genuflect.
Not everyone can sing a Luther song. Yeah, but go on. I'm gonna put the link in. I'm gonna put the link in the description for that one. Yeah, it was a masterclass. I had to sit down and say, I can't do that.
Whatever.
I'm okay. No. I'm okay with that. There's only certain people that can actually do that. Do you know what I mean? And it was a masterclass. Yeah. I know him as a good friend, yeah, but you guys will know him as Jaz Ellington.
Hey!
Thank you.
Yes. Last but not least, gosh, this has taken up a lot of time, but this is the kind of experience that these guys have got. And this one here, I can't even get. By the time I finish, it'll be the end of the show. So this is gonna be the abridged version. Yeah. I've had the privilege of being like an old school friend with this young lady. Yeah. And we were kind of like in the same geek squad. Yeah. We were. And it's such a beautiful thing to see her in her journey and seeing her grow. It's amazing. As a child, Andrea always wanted to be a professional singer. So upon leaving secondary school, she attended the Brit Performing Arts and Technology, famous for grooming global talents like Jessie J, Amy Winehouse, and Adele.
Me too. I love it.
And Jazz. Yeah, forgot. Three of a kind.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah.
After graduating from the Brit School, Andrea secured 2 recording contracts, one with Deconstruction DMG and Warner Brothers. After completing 2 deals, Andrea pursued a career in session singing. She then later on joined a famous jingles company, called Music 4, where her vocals can be heard through radio stations. Her portfolios include Radio 1, Magic FM, Heart FM, Capital Radio, to name a few.
Come on.
And is still a household name in music jingles. And when you hear her voice, and I'm sure when you click the links, you hear her voice, you'll understand why.
Okay, good.
Only a few people can do jingles. I'm not one of them. Although Andrea is a world-class soloist, she is an excellent team player in recording and singing environments. This makes her 20+ years of global singing experience both vast and wide, singing for background vocals for Tony Hadley from the 80s romantic band Spandau Ballet. Are you hearing what's going on here, people? Spandau Ballet. A little bit of aspirin. Get this though. She is currently involved in singing on the hit TV dance show. There's only one.
You can say it if you
Oh, I
want.
can. Oh, I can.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just. I don't. You know, I'm just being careful.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. The girl is on Strictly Come Dancing, for goodness sake.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
That's the
right.
gig right there. Sorry,
That's right.
that's the gig.
I don't need to say anything else.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people cannot go on Strictly Come Dancing? That's a highly stressful job. Do you know how many songs you got to learn and make sure that she's singing in the right notes with the cha-cha-cha?
That's proper training.
This is
That's
proper training.
routines,
proper stuff.
Yeah.
Sang with James Brown, Patti LaBelle, Queen, Roger Daltrey, Donna Summer, Stevie Wonder, Sam Moore, Lat Nicole, Donny Osmond, Amy Winehouse, Leona Lewis, Alicia Keys, Will Young, Lisa Stansfield. I'm running out of time. Queen Latifah, Sandy Shaw. It goes. You know what gets me? It's quite funny. Is that it says the list is more and many more. That's frightening.
Yeah.
That is real.
Always put and many more on your CV.
And many
You can
more.
go on for days. You can
As
go on
you
for
do.
days.
As you
Many
do, sister. That's right. Nice.
You know, like, I don't know if you've ever seen that scene in Airplane where they're slapping the woman and like, get yourself together. And she's like, ah! And in the queue, there's like a guy with a boxing glove. There's a nun with a bat. And then in the middle of it, there's a guy with a gun. But then after the guy with the gun, there's more people. I'm like, where'd you go with the gun? That's how I feel about reading her resume and many more. Where do you go after reading that?
You look for the many more.
Bro, where'd you go?
Guys, it is a pleasure. People, it is a pleasure to have you all on this. You know, we come from a place where we don't have CVs. Yeah, we don't go for a job and say, oh, I got, you know, GCSE in this and an A-level and a degree and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, my dad always said that the qualifications and the skills pale into significance to the man in comparison to the man out in the street that's been here and the woman out in the street that's been here.
Absolutely.
And you know, we very seldom get a chance to understand our worth because we're too busy moving from place to place. Am I making sense? And so it's only until when someone reads back to you what you've done and values what you've done, you kind of get a kind of an understanding of the currency of, I don't know about you, but, you know, I'm not secure all the time.
No.
You know, and so when someone reads, you know, I get excited about reading stuff when people say this is what they've done because I know what it takes to get in that room. So it's really a privilege, first of all, to hear that. But let me ask you a question. If you could get into your DeLorean, your time machine, Marty, we need to go back to 88. Go back. Do you reckon you could map? Do you reckon you could get to the same place you are now again? Who wants to answer that question first?
Well, I can think of a time in 20 plus years ago when I was thinking ahead, trying to prepare for the future. And so I sort of got into songwriting. I had a publishing deal with Chrysalis and I thought I'd get into songwriting and I'd try and sort of hone that part of my my skill set. Like I can do a good top line. I'm quite good at melody. I play piano, a little bit guitar. And I thought that's a way to sort of, you know, try and sort of diversify in some way. And I was invited to a Chrysalis open evening, 15 of my songs. And they lay out all these prospective songwriters or all the different publishing companies. And I had to go all the way to West London. I live in Northeast London. And I was invited to go and I went, I'm nervous. I'm quite shy. I'm actually quite shy and a bit insecure about certain things and nervous. And I didn't go. And I got a call. I was like, no one would go with me. And it was like a 7 o'clock at night in October and it was raining and dark. And I just like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I found out afterwards that 2 or 3 people had picked up my CD, looked at my resume, etc., and the songs, and wanted to meet me, wanted to work with me, and I missed that opportunity. And I think that particular moment had a real turning point because I think I would have been able to utilize what I potentially could have achieved now. Do you know what I mean? Songs or things. I was in the right place. I had a publishing deal. I had a profile of sorts.
Yeah.
I didn't capitalize on that. And I didn't use that. And I think that is really, really down to myself, not bigging myself up, being a bit insecure, being a bit worried about, that kind of thing. And that moment, I think, changed the trajectory of where I am now. So I think I possibly would be here now, but with more money and like a little back catalogue of stuff that I've written for people. Possibly that would have got a couple of cuts. I think I'm good enough, but I'm thinking about this 25 years later. But at the time, I didn't think I was good enough, and my insecurity and my nervousness and my whatever stopped me from going there. So
what could you pinpoint was your insecurity?
Well, it's my general, it's to do with my general insecurity. It's my I don't know. I mean, I had a difficult childhood, but I mean, I have certain insecurities, and I channeled all my whatever into my singing and and realizing I could make money of it. And I'm good at that. I know I'm good. I'm good enough. Andrea's a powerhouse. But what I'm saying is I'm good. I'm consistent. I'm, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure what stops me, because I'm still not good at bigging myself up. And I read, and like you said, Clinton, I read back at all my stuff, and I have many more on my CV. You didn't go there, but I do. But I was looking like, oh God, I've done quite a lot, but that doesn't mean anything. I don't think in the grand scheme of things, until people read it and they use that as a template to, oh, you're experienced and, oh, you're, I don't necessarily think that loads of names behind you makes you experienced and already good vocalist. It's just getting to know people. Like I discovered Jazz. I never knew Jazz. My God, amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
I never knew him. And so my point is, it's trying to get yourself known, is putting yourself out there to give you the impetus for more work, for different avenues, that kind of thing, which I don't think I'm that good at. As I said, I'm not very good at going, that's so. It's a general insecurity and worried about my thing. When I'm in the room, I know what I'm doing, I can do it, but it's just getting to the room and being confident on the way to the room.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of stuff there, what you just said there. Thank you. That I think, again, I reflect, looking at the names on your getting in the room, you got James Blunt, you got Bill Withers, you got Aldro, you got Carleen Anderson, and many more. It's like when you're in that bubble, I guess you don't realize the gravity that you have, because you're in a bubble quite oftentimes created by others. Us as artists and creatives, if we could touch our head and just touch the place that we ideally want to be, it's a completely different place from where we had our intentions, or where we've gone through our journey, because we're coming from a time where us as singers, we've been fashioned by an industry, and so move left, move right, because that was what allows you to get through that door. If you do this, then it moves you through that door. If you move, and so I think it's quite interesting hearing you retrospectively say, if I knew then what I know now, then there'd be several doors I'd be going through.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this, our four, is because Jazz is youngest, and so he's well up in the social media and the and it's, do you know what I mean? So it's the different approaches. Well, you are. I mean, I've seen all your, but the different approaches to how we promote ourselves is completely, it's completely. So, I think it's good. The cross-generation thing is quite good to talk about.
For sure. And I think what you hit on there, that cross-pollination between the experience and the information brings a hybrid, and that's what's I totally hear what you're saying, Valerie. Is absolutely beautiful. Anyone else want to add to that? What would you, if you were back to the spot where you were starting off this whole thing, could you bring yourself? It's a bit of an open question on that, and I'm just kind of want it to go wherever it goes. Could you bring yourself back to the same point? Would you want to bring yourself back to the same point?
I can go.
Go ahead.
Would I want to bring myself back to the same point? No, I would want to bring myself to somewhere else, if I'm being honest. Like, I mean, when I started off singing or taking it seriously, should I say, I definitely would have wanted to do more. And just like what Valerie's saying, there's lots. I had mad hang-ups, lots of insecurities. I did not have the best childhood in regards to school and stuff like that. So I was definitely the most bullied, or the one that always was the butt of every joke, or and all that stuff just knocks your confidence. I remember being in primary school and being really zealous and really, let's go, I really love doing this and X, Y, and Z. And as soon as I stepped into secondary school, it all changed and stuff. And funny enough, I've got a very musical family. So I don't know if you guys know Emily Holligan.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, of course, Clinton. I know Clinton.
I'd love to have
Emily
her on.
Holligan. She's my cousin.
What's her name? Emily what?
Emily Holligan.
Holligan, okay.
Emily Holligan, Gavin Holligan, Grace. We used to all sing together and stuff like that. I was in a group called Renew back in the day. And I remember being in secondary school. Funny enough, I just ended up in the same class as my cousin, was in literally the same class. Right. And Emily was someone that was very outgoing, very bold, very popular. Do you know what I'm saying? And I kind of took I kind of channeled my whatever confidence I had from her. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Emily's doing it. I can, I mean, like, you know, be encouraged, X, Y, and Z. And I remember leaning on her in secondary school and, you know, stepping out. I didn't get respected until people knew I could sing. Yeah. Which was pretty hard, because, you know, you think to yourself, if I didn't sing, you wouldn't really pay me any attention or any time of day and stuff. So the whole secondary school experience, really, there was so much hang-ups that I had moving forwards, especially going into Brit school. I remember going into Brit school as like a sink or swim situation. I remember everybody being amazing, like everybody. It was like, you're either gonna swim or you're gonna sink. That's it. So you was forced to kind of just, you know, be better. So I always found myself kind of running behind, trying to catch up a little bit, if that makes sense. Sure. And I do feel like if I was a bit more bold and a bit more, you know, daring, I'll be in a bit of a better position, if I'm being honest. So in my class at Brit School, I remember Leona was in my class, Leona Lewis. Right. Katie Miller.
From around here, actually.
Who else? A few other people were in my class. It was a really good it was a breeding ground of creativity. It was amazing. I loved every moment of Brit School. But it really forced me to like, well, do you want to do this so much, Jaz? Like, what are you saying? Because it's not being funny. You can be shy all your life, or you could be worried, or, you know, worry what people think. And if I could do it all over again, I'd love to be a bit more bolder. And I'd like to think and hope that I'd be maybe in a better position, you know? Sure. Yeah, that's my little 2 pence.
That's good. It's good. I like that. It's very I mean, you've touched on stuff. I think that's going to probably run through all of our existence. Is childhood. It's that dealing with just being yourself, and being ahead of the curve when everybody else is. We didn't know it was called being ahead of the curve. We didn't know that this gift would bring us to this forum, but it just didn't look like it made any sense there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, Jaz. It's lovely. It's lovely. Andrea, you got anything to add?
I can relate completely with both Jaz and Valerie. With, you know, the whole insecurity thing, I'm still very insecure. I'm still very shy. So yeah, would I want to change things? Yeah, I definitely would have wanted more. But at the same time, I feel like I wasn't given more, because I don't think I would have been able to have handled it.
Good. Okay, that's good.
You know, like being famous, you know, I've had 2 record deals, and
Right.
both of them didn't work out. And I feel like it was kind of a blessing because I really didn't enjoy them. I didn't enjoy having record deals. I much prefer what I'm doing now, because, you know, you can go and you can do your thing and you're not famous.
Yeah.
I never went into it to be famous. So, you know, it's kind of perfect for me. But sometimes I feel that people look at me and think that because I am a session singer, I don't have much ambition.
Right.
You know, people go, "Oh, don't you know how good you are?" And I'm like, I'm cool, you know, I'm just cool. I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not that I don't want more, but I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? I'm in a good place with where I am. I'm not unhappy because I'm not the artist. You know? And a lot of people assume that you know, you are unhappy because you're not the artist.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. That's all I really want to add.
I really relate to that. Wow.
Yeah.
I do relate to that.
Yeah.
I love I mean, having worked with such big names, it's not fun. It's not fun. Those people, man. No. And there's so much mental health issues in the music industry. Unbelievable.
Of course.
And, you know, I hate the thought of having to be on all the time, which you have to be when you are an artist or you're a lead artist. It's a lot. Pressure. And I admire people who can handle that, who can, you know, fame isn't all that it's cracked up to be. I mean, you know, it's not. So anyway, go on. Sorry, you're going to say something.
No. I was taking a breath. No, you can say something else.
No, I was just relating to everything that Andrea said, and I am happy, and I would prefer like her to be in a better position. But I mean, in terms of my career in creativity, you know. But I'm you know, I've been lucky. I think it's a lot to do with luck as well. I've been really lucky, you know, being in the right place at the right time and all that. And now you have to create your luck, and it's work to create your luck and create your profile and create that becomes work, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, the thing. Let me work backwards from that luck thing. Someone asked a million. It's a story. I asked a millionaire, and they said, you congratulations on your success and your wealth and blah blah blah. He said, well, thank you very much. And he said, you must have been, you have been extremely lucky to get where you are. And he said, yes, I've been extremely lucky. However, you see, the thing with luck, it only falls in particular places. This thing, whatever you want to call it, it only lands in certain places. And in order for you to receive that, you have to cover a lot of space and time in order for you to be in several places so wherever it falls, you are actually in that place. And so, I say to you, the other side is that we don't realize how incredibly hard we work to deliver that promise that in that junction in time, you're going to feel good because of, let's say, my sound. Yeah. So when you actually break it down, it's actually the biggest amount of pressure to actually meet someone in a junction in time and say, look, if you come at this particular time and pay for it, I promise that the notes that I sing will make you feel a particular way that will make you happy and satisfied, and you leave. And guess what? I'll do it to 10,000 at a time. When you actually break it down and you think about it, it's probably one of the most stressful jobs. It's like stand-up comedy. It's one of the most stressful jobs because the promise to deliver something that is unique that people can walk away and have as a moment forever. It's a lot of pressure. And so it's no wonder that in our world of the creative arts, why mental health is such a hot topic. It's not natural to be receiving applauses from thousands of people all the time. Can anyone add to that?
Come on, anybody? Well, I quite like receiving applause.
I'm not saying,
but from 20 feet back, that movie 20 feet from Stardom, I'm quite happy. Introduce me, and I'm quite happy to do that. That's fine, and then leave me alone. Just move to one side. Please. Go about your business.
Leave me alone.
Just that's fine. I don't need it. I don't need it that much. It's not important to me. I want to do a really good job. I want to be excellent at what I do. I want professionalism, So that's all good. There are so many things that anyway, I don't want to get into it because the other two, Jaz and Andrea, haven't spoken that much, but I could go on. But I don't.
I'm sure they're going to leapfrog into it anyway. So
I don't want to fill the space. I don't.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're good, man. You're good. It's causing conversation, and I like where you're going with this. Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy performing. I've missed performing so much in the last 18 months. Yeah. But not in myself, just performing and sharing. I did a session actually yesterday. I was so happy. It was 3 hours. It was amazing. I love it. My favorite thing to do is session, but it's so rare to do them now. People just don't, it's so hard to get sessions because everyone can sing. And I'm not saying that disdainfully. Everyone can sing, but I'm just saying because people have their own technology and all that kind of stuff, I prefer the freedom of somebody else doing the fiddling, which I can do, but it's boring because I've got to stop myself. I can't relax and sing out. I've got to go, oh God, come to the end, that kind of thing. I don't like that, So I did a session. It was great. I felt such joy. And what I want to get back is the joy. I miss the joy. The joy of just performing and singing. And I don't like the business, although it's a necessity, but it's not something I want to, I know it's a necessary evil. Now you have to do the business, but I just miss the joy a bit. I miss the joy.
So let me talk about. Oh, go on. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, bro. Just to add to the whole, Val mentioned the mental health of it. It really is a lot. I mean, I love singing regardless, whether it's the back or at the front. I mean, I'll be honest. I wanted to be an artist to be at the front to tell my story. That's the truth. That's what I wanted to do. I'd gone through some madness in life and I really just wanted to just pour my heart out, and my biggest joy is where people can just connect with a song, whether it be one person or thousands of people. Do you know what I'm saying? And even though that's an amazing thing, when you think about it, on paper, there's also the flip side that we don't normally talk about, where, that one person or the thousands of people might not like it. Or the world might not like it, or record labels and stuff. It's a nightmare. Now, I've never been signed or anything like that, but I was on tour with Emily Sandy 2019, just before lockdown, and she said before every show, during every show, there's a part where she will strip it down and be on the piano, and she would say, nobody can tell your story better than you can. Do you know what I mean? And it made me fall in love with wanting to actually tell my story and just be an artist, because being an artist means sometimes you got to bend the knee a little bit and kind of just do as you're told. And you got people have got this big ideas and big expectations for you to do this stuff, or someone else has got this idea, or this. One of my managers wanted to turn me into Luther Vandross. As much as I love Luther, I can't do that. Right. There's only one Luther and he's gone. You know what I mean? God rest his soul. But I remember it being very, very, very tough in terms of okay, cool. It's almost like you're cooking a dinner for a meal for people that you've never cooked for before. And, you put it down before them and they don't like it. They haven't even tasted it, but they don't like it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not packaged right. It's not quite. You didn't get your ingredients from M&S, so I'm not even going to divulge that. So because you went to Lidl's or Tesco's and you got the Tesco's basics running, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not even going to try it. And then and it's a formality. There's loads of formalities. That's the reason why, you know, certain people don't connect to things and blah, blah, blah. But it's still madness on your heads, you know, ones everybody, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like being an established artist where, you know, the world is expecting another project from you and you're worried because you're being yourself, but you're hoping yourself is enough for the people that have invested in you, because they might just say, well, I don't like that one. And then you've got to deal with it on your own. And it's tough. That looks, that's the scary thing. That doesn't change.
Right.
That's tough.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a few record deals, and I had one record deal in particular, and they wanted to market me as this artist called Desiree. Have you heard of Desiree? Anybody?
Yeah, I love Desiree. Yeah.
But I was like, big up Desiree, her sales wicked, but not her music. It's not me. I like it for her and great, but I can't be packaged like that. So they dragged me around America, writing with this, writing with that, spending all my money, all my advance, and I had to come back and make my album in 2 weeks. You know, after this, I knew what I wanted then. I knew who I wanted to work with, but I had to go through the motions, go all the way around the houses.
Yeah.
You know, I knew what I wanted, but it's just, you don't really, because you know, you're just a singer, and you know, I mean, you don't know what you want. They were telling you, the A&R tells you what you want, whereas you can't, you know. And I had loads of that. God, yeah. So
tell me, with the failures of delivering, because I'm hearing a common thread at the moment, you want to deliver a message, but it gets intercepted by other people's purpose. How do you manage failure into delivering what you do? For example, you know, I recorded an album years ago, and it's my one and only album, and I recorded it for myself. My intention was to record it for myself. It was in my studio. It was a little demo thing. It got a bit of traction around, and it was a bit of a Salvador Dali or a Marmite. You know, some people loved it and some people didn't. And through it all, I had to deal with the concept of, was it a failure? And so I'll ask you: is there a project or a mission statement that you've had through your life, through your medium of music, singing, and you felt like you failed? What's been your recipe in being able to manage that?
Andrea?
I open it to anybody.
I guess I could talk about the deals I've had, the record deals I've had. I definitely feel like I failed
right.
to, you know, what I set out to achieve. But I do feel like it wasn't really through fault of my own.
Yeah.
Because kind of going back to what both Jaz and Valerie were saying, the record company had their own ideas of how they wanted to market me, what type of artist they wanted me to be. And it wasn't, you know, what they wanted from me, I didn't want. So those of you that know me and know me well, I dig my heels in. You know, if I'm not into something, I'm not going to go with it. And yeah, so it was tough. I came away from both of those experiences feeling like I failed. And after the second time, I felt like, well, that's it now. I'm too old. You know, I was 20,
another one. 25
at the time.
Right.
I put out for my second deal, and I was like, I'm too old now. Now what am I going to do? No record company is going to sign me again. So, but you know, once I got my head around the fact that, well, at the time I felt like, right, it's over. It's done. It's dead in the water. I've got to find something else to do.
Right.
Once I got my head around that, you know, and kind of fell into the session singing world, I was cool, you know. I was all right with this so-called failure. You know?
Beautiful. Anyone else can add to that?
Goodness, there's a few things. How much time we got, really?
Purge. This is a
honestly
space.
Honestly,
I like that. Purge.
right, so for me, I think maybe when I was coming up, it was a dream to be signed and, you know, to have some backative in that being like, you know, a label which is you got a bit more force behind you know what I'm saying, as opposed to me saying little old Jaz Ellington, oh hi, this is my new single, do you mind playing it? Do you know what I'm saying? If a label's behind you, you know what I'm saying, pal, if a label's behind you, people are a bit more receptive and they listen a bit more. Do you know what I'm saying? I've never been approached for anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So I felt failure there. I felt like even when I would try to do things myself with the little money I was making, because I was working in the bakery section at Sainsbury's. Hello. And just
you gotta work. Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? Just doing the best I can. And I'm thankful because it helped me, you know, do some stuff. It's really, you know, it was really hard. So obviously you get things to a certain point and it's like, oh, you can't mix and master your stuff because you can't afford it, or you can't do other stuff that you would do which ties in with putting out a track or a release or anything. You just can't do it like that. And you start to think to yourself, okay, well, all right, maybe it's not going to happen, but you have no choice but to keep going. And then you kind of go, then you go on a show like The Voice, you know, and Britain's like
freeze right there. Yeah, sorry, I don't know how I missed that bit. Yeah,
it's all right, bro. Honestly, seriously,
Jaz Ellington tore up the. I need to get in the camera. Jaz Ellington tore up The Voice. Yeah,
I didn't watch it. Yeah.
So mad.
And that's where I first met Jaz.
Is it?
Was that at The Voice?
Yeah, because I got called in one day. It just started.
Yeah.
That was the first series, right?
Yeah.
So it just started and I got a call to come in and pretend to be a contestant. Just to help out with rehearsals. And that was where I first met you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I completely haven't registered, because you know what? During that was a nightmare time.
Wow.
As much as it was a blessing, let me be very clear, it was a beautiful blessing, yeah?
Did you win it then? Yeah. Did you win it, or you were a finalist?
No.
He should have won.
Okay.
I got to the semi-finals. I'm thankful for that. I had a lot against me with that show in regards to health. I had a lot of asthmatic issues. I was in that hospital. There was a lot of stuff going on. But if we're going back to the whole failure thing, do you know what I'm saying? I felt like, oh, you dropped the bomb on that one as well. Okay, cool, right, you're okay. Then you start to think, like you said, Andrea, you think to yourself, oh, well, no one's going to really show me time of day anymore. How much hit and misses you're going to get? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, you put on a gig and then people don't turn up. Let's keep it real. And that is the real death blow, because it's very personal. Do you know what I mean? You're putting your heart out there. You want people to see what's going on, and people either want, a free ticket or guest list, or they don't want to do things like that because maybe they don't associate it like that. But then, as the artists that we are, you can't help but take it personally. That's just the truth of it. Clint, I remember when you opened for an artist, or mentioned an artist name, a big artist, top artist, yeah. And as much as this artist is big, world renowned, that's why I said, both gigs in London were like nobody was there. It was the most bizarre thing. It was the most bizarre thing I've come across, because to me, this is world renowned artists, guys. The ones where it's like, so how does artists, I think it's the same for every artist, established, starting out, we still feel the same things because we're putting our heart out there, aren't they? We're putting our hearts out there, aren't we? Yeah. So if it's the case that this big artist had 2 nights, two consecutive nights, and nobody's really there. I'm talking about the venue was maybe, and I'm not even exaggerating, maybe 20% full.
But are you talking
That's
about
too much.
people for the artist or for Clinton who was supporting the artist?
Sorry, the artist. Clinton was supporting the artist. So it really is on the main artist that was, do you know what I'm saying? It was, I can't imagine what the artist went through. Do you know what I'm saying? Or maybe they're just used to it or they just got on with it. But to me, if I was in that position, as much as I'm talking about myself that's starting up, and I'm also talking about big artists as well, I can imagine that the mental health, you know, the whole failure thing, I don't think it ever stops. Would you agree?
Yeah,
You still deal with it, wouldn't you? So I don't know.
That was a that was a very, very bizarre weekend. That was very bizarre. I I remember being in Brit school once, doing an event. We had to do some performance.
Was I in the band then?
Huh?
Was I in the band then?
No, this is not actually music related.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I stood next to you, I was cool, but when I was by myself, and for some reason, someone said that I've got to do a stand-up comedy thing, and I was like, all right, fine. And I had, those of you that know me, I don't have any kind of inhibitions in that. I'm not like culturally bound to, if you trip up, loads of people are gonna see you and, oh my gosh, do you know what I mean? Or wear the right underwear just in case you get run over. I'm not that kind of, you know, that kind of, I don't have that problem.
That is important. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, it is very important. But when I went to the Brit school, it's the first time I was actually surrounded by people that were very sensitive about how they presented themselves.
Right.
And I was still trying to keep up and process, and I was a bit underdeveloped at that time too. It was not, I was, you know, wasn't as old in my age as the others were, so I was always trying to keep up. And I put on this big shaggy kind of coat on, had a medallion, and I put some lipstick as a clown.
Wow.
So I was literally just trying to be a clown, roll up some sleeve and put some boots on, and I was telling these jokes, and the jokes were awful. And I just remember a few of my friends at the front row had their heads in their hand like this.
Oh.
And the auditorium was about a few hundred. You could put a few hundred people in it. And it was dead silent, and people were like, what is going on?
Oh,
and they were like, and it was at that point when I realized I'm going to start to absorb this failure. I'm going to start to just do that. Let me take it, because this is not failure. This is feedback. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. And it was from then I started to really to create this really thick skin. And in fact, I started failing on purpose to see who was in the room that would actually be the ones to help me, the ones that would pick me up, and the ones that would be my investors. And so I would play around with this thing called failure. And so from that point, I never saw myself as a singer as such, just a creative. And that really helped my mindset, which is my next question to you guys. Can you, I heard about this artistry thing, taking it personally. Can you divorce yourself from your feelings and separate the artistry from the person? Or are they intertwined as one?
Good question.
No, not in my case.
Not for me.
I take it all personally.
Oh no, go carry on. Well,
Andrea, you take it
no.
all personally?
Yeah, totally. And
why?
I feel like.
What do you mean? If someone criticizes your vocals or something, you take. What do you mean?
Well, it depends on how they criticize.
Right.
I have had a lot of nasty criticism in the past.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of good criticism, but it's always the nasty ones that sort of stay with you, you know.
Destructive sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As
really,
opposed to constructive.
And that has really messed with my mental health in a way, you know. And it doesn't help your insecurities at all. So it's the reason I kind of steer clear of social media quite a lot when it comes to that, because I can't read the comments. I used to, but I can't anymore because it's just not good for my mental health. So yeah, and I do, yeah, I take it very personally. You know, yeah.
Valerie?
Not really. I don't take it personally. Yeah, I'm the same. I think it's possible to be private on social media. I think it's possible. You can post and you can still keep something for yourself. So that's my aim all the time, which is why for me, it's always feast or famine. You know, I don't do anything for months and suddenly I'll do a couple of things, you know, in my way of bigging myself up or advertising something I'm doing. No, I don't think I take. Some things I'm aware. I'm very tall. I've got broad shoulders. I'm tall, and so I get a lot of comments on how big I am sometimes. And back in the day when I do BVs with people, there would be someone down here and then me, and it was just I don't know. That made me feel really aware of my height and aware of the way I look and all that kind of stuff. But in general, no. What bothers my mental health is I've got to get away from. Oh, she's got that gig. Ooh, I'm quite good. I could have got that gig. That thing, you know, like I've got a particular story when George Michael was alive. He did his 25 live tour 10 years ago or something. I can't remember when. And every singer went up to that gig. And I thought, why am I not getting an audition? I should be getting an audition. I'm good enough on audition. I'm good enough to get in. And I didn't push myself forward. And I knew 2 or 3 people who went on audition for that gig. And I knew one particular person who'd been singing with him forever. So I grew up with her. And I should have called her up and said, yo, can you just put my name forward? I'm really up for, you know, can you sort of suggest me as someone to audition? I deserve at least an audition. But I didn't do that. And I that's another thing that I regret. But I remember thinking, oh, I could have done. That's what I want to get out. I want to get away from that. I've lost that now because I'm older. But I mean, there was a lot of that around. So I presume that's kind of a mental health thing. You know, oh, I was as good as that person. I could have been doing that gig, that kind of thing. So that I had to get rid of that feeling. Although I didn't voice it, but that I think is to do with.
I love your realness, man. That's right. Yeah, it's real.
It's real, isn't it? It's, you know, let's be honest here, because it's you know, I think it's important. So you know, I wanted to, yeah. Jazz, next. To that question.
Yes, I'm so sorry. You know, when we're having conversations and we slightly deviate a little bit. What was the question again? My head somewhere else. My head was still stuck up what Valerie was saying because I felt like that before. So
yeah,
definitely.
The thing of artistry and feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. There we go.
Are they intertwined? Okay. Are they intertwined, or do you make it intertwined?
I don't think you can be an artist without your feelings being connected. Honestly, it's really like, for example,
Why'd you say that?
I get really passionate about. I'm a vocal arranger, so I'm a little bit anal when it comes to parts and things in certain places and stuff when I've written it a certain way, and then the producer goes and sends it back to you and it's all different. You know what I'm saying? And I do take it personal because it's like, hold on, no, I heard it that way. That's exactly how I heard it. We're working together. Don't change it and then send it back to me after I'm thinking that's all right. It's not okay to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, feelings and artistry, definitely. I mean, the comments, Andrea, I can concur. Do you know what I mean? You're always going to get those few people that say that thing that's like, that was horrible for you to say that. And you decided to say that to make me feel a certain way. And I really would love to dodge that bullet, but it did hit me. And I've got to be honest with that myself. It hit me. There's loads of different things where, like, for example, you know, when you're being told that you're just too big. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy. Do you know what I'm saying? And you know the ones when you're on stage and you're kind of in 4D without the glasses. Do you know what I'm saying? You're moving in 4D. Yeah, and that's the truth. Your clothes are telling your story for you. Do you know what I'm saying?
I just realized.
So,
I just don't know what you're saying.
No? Yeah, 4D. That's what I'm saying. You know, you know when you're moving in 60 frames, that's how big you are on stage. Okay, good. So my problem my problem would be sometimes, you know, people would comment or say certain things. You know, some people say things in love. I still take it personally because it's the truth.
Yeah,
It's the truth sometimes. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's hateration. Do you know what I mean? I had this lady say some stuff to me about a gig I did like just shortly after I came off the show, and it was so destroying. You know, when you think to yourself, I'm stepping back into this arena to do a show. I've just come off The Voice. I'm not indestructible. You can't just say any and anything to me. Do you know what I'm saying? And
right.
I take it personally. Do you know what I mean? And
hurts. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? We're all being real. That's the truth.
Yeah. Bring it to the table, definitely. I agree with you. What I have to say, that's so disrespectful. What happened to you? You arrange vocals, someone changes them up and sends them back to you. That is so disrespectful. It's unbelievable. It's like, I have to let people, like when I'm in a session sometimes, I think I know what I'm doing. I've organized it. I know what to sing. And then someone goes, oh yeah, try the A flat. And I'm like, so I relax, do your thing. I have to go around, wait for them to do, then I'll say, oh, actually, this is how it goes. I'm sure this is how it goes. But when people are really loud and really want to, they do that because they're insecure. They want to show that, that, you know, they're just as good as you and they're really, you know, there's a really weird thing there. So I spend a lot of time managing people's up their thing before we get to the meat and potatoes. You know, I feel like I'm, you know, my whole life I've had to temper sort of, you know, because I'm quite blunt sometimes, but to sort of go, oh, okay, and relax and let them get that out their system. And then you go, actually, this is how it goes. You know, I've had a lot of that, you know, and that to me is really rude. It's really rude.
Mm-hmm. In my experience, because we experience all of those emotions all at once, all in one conversation. And I think I love watching directors' commentaries of movies. I'll sit and watch a movie that I've loved, and I just love how they do it. I love the process, you know. And I've actually taken a lot more interest in the production of movies than I've actually in terms of music production. I think there's a different modus operandi when it comes to doing a film. There's a lot more moving parts, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one of the things that really hit me, I was watching this film, and the directors were saying, and the producers were in the room, and they were all talking, and they said, "Yeah, I remember when we did this shot, and we brought this in, and you know, the director said that they wanted it this way. I didn't agree with them, but that's what we came to the conclusion of. And they're both in the room, you know." And I didn't agree with them, but this is the shot that we came out, and it works for the film. It works, and I was just processing that they were both in the room, and they might have been having some, I don't know, a proper fisticuffs behind, but in front, the decision to be able to relinquish your process for someone else's process, but still keep the integrity of your artistry intact, I found quite interesting. And the communication with it, and I started to take that on board when it came to me as doing my output in any other fashion. And I could see there's actually a huge difference between musical artistry in terms of collaboration and for what I see from the face value of this type of thing, and it helped me able to bring a process together and say, well, okay, fine. At this gradient, if you're saying you want me to relinquish this, then you just need to know that you're not getting Clinton Jordan. You're getting consulting.
Absolutely.
Process. I just need you to understand that, because I cannot put the signet of my process, but I'm happy with that. And so, and I would test it on my sacrificial lambs. I would say, okay, fine. Let us do it on this, and to see if I've got the maturity to let go of. And don't get me wrong, there's times when you put your stake in the ground, but there's some times where I'm like, let me see if I can test myself for the nature of this process, whether I can let go of that chord or that harmony or that word or that stanza, to see if I've matured in my creative output, so that the whole process moves on. It's not a standoff. And I surprised myself too, because the letting go of that, particularly when there's a dominant person in the room that's trying to show that they are the top artistry. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay. And in my head, what I do is I rationalize it and say, right, maybe this is your time to shine.
Yeah. So you step back,
I would.
or you retreat in some way.
I wouldn't call it retreating. I would call it an executive decision.
Right. Okay.
For this to move forward, someone has to make the decision of how this is going to move forward. And so then I will say, well, it's my turn to make that decision, because you're not making that decision. You want it to be rigor mortis. This project will die because of someone not making the decision. And that's where it goes beyond, for me, that's where it goes beyond artistry. That's where it goes beyond, goes beyond my feelings. And so I will know that this is not the project for that. And then when we do another project where it's Clinton Jordan, you'll understand why it's called Clinton Jordan. And so that helps me to navigate when working with people, that, you know, you come into a place where locking arms, especially when people say, oh, sing it that way. I mean, that's quite personal, isn't it? No, I don't want you to sing it your way. I want to sing it that way. And I say, okay, do you want it like this, or do you want it like this, or like that? And I think it's a great opportunity to test my versatility rather than feel like my subordinates is being pillaged. And then when I could do that, you get a different. Was it Ronald Reagan said, "I don't care who the idea belongs to, as long as it gets done." I'm paraphrasing. And I think, especially when we get to this level of artistry, we have to try new angles. And that just stops me from, you know, I don't like feeling bitter about a decision that was made in the past, because your hands are not free to receive new things. And I don't know who's.
Yeah, I strive not to be bitter and twisted. I strive. I really just park it. I can mark that and park it, but I just, there's such room for bitterness. But I don't go there.
And let's face it, our vocation, what we do is riddled with a cacophony of feelings that are not necessarily organized, and that's what's sometimes so beautifully ugly about this whole process too. You know, it's great. That's great. So let me ask you this then. Being in education for over a few decades, I've seen each of you in a child, and I've seen me in a child, and all of us, I think, have been I've taught in some capacity, way, shape, or form. If you did come across yourself again, what would you tell that person, that version of yourself, so they could move forward in places where you maybe didn't, couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't?
Okay, I'll go.
It's a loaded question, I know.
It's very loaded, but I like it. I'll turn around and say, yo, Jermaine, my name's Jermaine, by the way. It's gonna get tough. People ain't gonna get it. You're gonna have some pain. But I want you to just remember this one thing: bun what everybody thinks, sir, and keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would say to me.
Right. The end.
I thought about that before, as you could tell.
The end.
The end.
Oh God, what would I say? I would say, because nobody tapped into my musicality, no one caught it, you see, and no one caught it, man. I think back to when I was 4, 7, I can seminal moments, and I thought, oh, you didn't catch that, and I had the children, and I made sure I watched them to catch whatever it is to actually elevate it. So I would actually, it sounds awful, I would actually practice my craft more. Like, I could play piano when I was very young, I could play guitar very well, and I didn't put a lot of time and effort into practice, into actually honing that craft. I honed the singing, but I didn't do the other 2 disciplines. So I would tell myself to do that. And I would echo what Jaz said. Don't care what people think about you. Just strive ahead. Just don't think. Just directional and be strong in your convictions. That's difficult to do, but the people I admire are really strong in their conviction. They're strong in what the trajectory, where they're going to go. And so I would give myself more strength and more strength about myself and my insecurities. That's what I give myself.
I like that. I like that. Andrea?
What I would say to myself is similar to both what Valerie and Jaz have said. Practice, because practice makes perfect. And just keep going, but also have something else to fall back on.
There we go.
Everybody makes it.
Yeah.
Everybody makes it. And I'm not saying you're not going to make it, but not everybody does. And also because in 2020, COVID is going to hit.
Yeah.
And you're going to need something else.
Yeah. And I have
the whole world gets shut down in 2020.
Thank you.
So, you know,
And that's my biggest regret. I didn't hone my other skills. That's because I've been lovely, man. I've been earning money, going on tour. Yeah, wicked. You know, having a great time. And then suddenly, I've never not worked in my entire life. Does any of you two think of yourself as a musician, not just as a singer? I mean, because I don't know. I think a singer is a musician, or is it me?
No, 100%. So I've gone through different phases. Jaz, you answer. I'm not talking anymore. Go on. You
No, I agree. I think I would say both. We are both. That's why I use the term artists, because I feel like it's a better umbrella, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Well, to me anyway, yeah. Because we're not just singers, you know, we know how things sound, you know what I'm saying? Although we can't, well, I won't speak for everybody, but for me, I can play a little bit of guitar. I'm not really that, I can't play it. I want to try and play and sing, but I know what I want the chord to sound like, so I can put it all together, definitely. Don't ask me to do it all the time, it's not going to happen.
But I mean, I just find that interesting, because I think that throughout my career, there's been, the singer will do it. There's always a throwaway aspect to what we do, which and also, you know, lead singing, but also session singing, I think is a craft. It's actually a proper craft.
100%.
And I just don't think it gets recognition. So therefore, that film that came out 15 years ago, was it? 20 Feet from Stardom. I actually went to the premiere of that, and there was a Q&A with the director, and I actually asked the question. I said, you've kept it very small and insular in terms of, it was a very small group of people, and I thought he could have explored it and gone a bit wider, wider in terms of the singers that he spoke to. And he had some really old school ones, cool ones, but you know, I just thought he could have branched out a bit more. But I just think that's a very interesting topic to consider, that where it's a real skill. It is a real skill, and BVs and background vocal session singers, they add such colour and such, you know, to songs. And I sometimes think that it's seen as like, we'll throw, you let off those 8 bars. It's, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do.
100%.
You're not important. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You're not important.
Yeah,
you're not important. And I find that annoying.
Wrap this up. Give me one of the most amazing experiences that you've had in your music career. Tell me something that's like, wow, that you had to be in the room, and it's got to be inspiring. I don't want to hear any, well, so what's the most inspiring thing that's happened to you as a singer? And you could have said to yourself, do you know what? It was all worth it just to experience this.
Can I go?
Go on, man.
The most amazing experience I had was working with James Brown. And he told the 3 of us, there was 3 of us on BVs, and he told the 3 of us that we had the funk.
Wow.
You win. That's game, set, match. The Godfather said that to you, yeah? Okay, good. Right.
I mean, his very words were, y'all are pretty, y'all can sing, and y'all have the funk.
Wicked. End of story.
And I replied, I was the only one that replied, and I said, thank you, Mr. Brown.
That is too much.
That's amazing.
That is. Do you know how much
And
that
then-
could just set me off?
And then 6 weeks later, he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah,
You met the
goodness.
man.
Yeah.
You met the man. That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mine is very, very simple. Years and years ago, my Galliano played the Mid-Em Music Festival in Cannes.
Right.
And it was in celebration of Marvin Gaye's music. And Diana Ross was there, Shaka Khan, Al Jarreau, the lead singer, I can't remember, from the Average White Band, DeBarge, blah, blah, blah. Names for days. The Pointer Sisters, right? And we were in a dressing room next to the Pointer Sisters. So I went into the dressing room and borrowed. I had to do it. I thought, I've got to meet the Pointer Sisters. How can I do this? This is an amazing moment. It's not singing. It was an amazing moment. So I went next door and I said, oh, can I borrow some eyeshadow? And she was, here you go, honey. And they gave me a blue eyeshadow. And I touched the Pointer Sisters eyeshadow and I put on my makeup. I got ready. Like, thanks. I brought it back. That's a tiny moment, but I'm such a massive Pointer Sisters fan. And I met the Pointer Sisters, all 4 of them. It was incredible. There we are. That was me.
Boom. Boom. Yes.
So I opened for Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that was a big deal for me.
Really? In London?
Yeah, she was touring the UK. I think it was don't quote me on this. I feel like it was when she just started to come back. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she did a range of different things around London, and she didn't have anybody opening for her. I was the only one that done it on one of the shows.
Wow.
And it didn't go down well though. Like in terms of, I kind of didn't hold it together enough. I kind of just fanned out a bit too much.
Right. Okay.
That's another story though.
That's another story. The name is there.
She basically said, she walked past me, said, hey, hello, how are you? And I just went,
yeah. What else could you do?
I couldn't say nothing else. Nothing. It just,
of course. I
nothing
totally
there.
get it.
You know the ones where you're probably one of the reasons why I do what I'm doing. What
do you mean? How am I? How are you?
How are you doing?
Yeah,
me?
Exactly. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill,
That's
man.
when I met so many people. I'm just going. I met Chaka, man. Chaka was incredible. Beautiful woman. Anyway. There's ages. We could do this again. And talk about who we.
Last question.
Okay.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you when you've been on stage?
Oh God, yeah. I can do that. I can do that.
Go on, Val. Go on, Valerie.
Oh, I've got several. Okay. When I was working with Kylie, when she got ill, she forgot the words to one of her songs, and then she turned to us, and we all went, no one had learned the songs, because all we did was learn the parts. And we didn't learn the song. So my advice to anybody is learn the song. Just learn the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that never happened to me again, but learn the whole thing. Learn the whole thing. And because we were, and we just like this, like that. Nothing came out. That was the lights were on us. That was very embarrassing. And she was going like that and frowning. And we didn't know the words. That was embarrassing.
Oh, message in the bottle. Andrea.
Oh gosh. I've got 2, but they're quite quick. The first one is working on that dance show, and we were doing the song Ghostbusters. It was Halloween week, and we're doing the song Ghostbusters, and obviously it's like Ghostbusters. Everybody, well, I was the only person that shouted Ghostbusters. They literally left me on my own. So my voice was the only one shouting like a child in a playground. And when I watched it back, it was just so embarrassing. And I still haven't forgiven them for that. But So yeah, that's the first one. There was another one, but I can't remember it now. But yeah, that's probably the most embarrassing one.
That will do. That will do. Jazz.
I can't think of any actually on stage, but it was at a gig.
Yeah.
It was one of those festivals. I think they had it. It was at Alton Towers, and there was like a marquee, you know, with the catering and all that stuff. And so I was the last one to enter the tent, and my crew were sitting on the table. There's like one spare seat, basically, and so everybody's sitting in there. Everyone's quiet because they're getting ready to pray. And one says, "So I've come in now, and let's keep it real. You know, when you're like, the truth is, when you're around, you've got to make sure you assess where you're sitting. That's the truth. Touch your neighbor and say, assess where you sit down. Yeah? All right, cool. All right. So basically, I'm setting the scene good. Yeah, I have to set it good. So the round tables, there's loads of them. Yeah, everybody's quiet. So Jazz has just kind of walked in. Yeah, and you know, just went and okay, there's a chair. Sat next to my mate. Pulled the chair out. And it's one of them, you know, those little degger chairs that ain't got no sustenance.
Oh, no.
Right. So, okay, good. So I went to sit down, but I didn't stop. You know, you sit down, you stop on the chair.
It just carried on.
Straight through. Yeah. Onto the floor.
Excellent.
And all you heard was the wave of laughter. Like something,
Yeah.
the wave of, and you know the ones where I thought I'm gonna stay on the floor.
That sounds oh my God.
On the floor. From that day on, I assess every chair I sit down. You understand? You don't know about being round. You have to be careful. You should have done your research, Jazz. I learned from that day. That's it. That will never happen to me again. You know the ones where you see the chair on the side. It's like, no, I'll stand up.
No,
Standing up for 5 hours if you need to, you know.
Oh dear. Oh no, yeah, too much joke. Just had to keep it moving.
That's real.
Guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. It has been wonderful sharing with you guys and hearing your great stories. We must do this one more time again while we have this time and the space.
Yeah.
Guys, people, give it up for Jaz, Andrea, and Valerie. This has been Singers Podcast, episode 3.
Hey.
Woo!